good afternoon, Han. Lovely to see you again. Thank you for joining me. So for anybody listening, and if you've not seen any videos that I've already recorded with Han, this is Hannah Purslow, and she's an HRBP and that's Frank, the Super Beagle.
I wondered how long it would take for him to show his little face, to be honest.
Yeah, he's an HR assistant, honorary HR assistant.
He is.
Also for a global organisation.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk to you today, Hannah, about, obviously, given that we're on the run up to Christmas right now, and we're looking back at 2020 and the challenging year it's been. And I'm just curious to know, how it's impacted the business you work for, and what you've done to sort of retain that sort of employee engagement, and with all that's been going on. Can you sort of tell us a little bit about what you've been doing where you are, and how it's worked, and what's been good and what's been bad, and how you're looking at 2021?
Yeah, definitely. So I think massive impact on us, everybody, I think, in the world of work, wherever you are, from HR to any department really. 2020 has been a crazy year, let's put it like that. So yeah, nobody was ever prepared for it, which in some sense is absolutely terrifying, but then in the same sense it's a bit like, well, we're all in this together, so let's work through it, which was, really, it was challenging but exciting. And I think, employee engagement has been of paramount throughout this time, because we're not all in an office together. A lot of people are working from home, and how do you keep that feel of being engaged and connected to one another when you're not all in the same place every day? So we looked at a lot of different initiatives. So we started off, especially during the working from home period, started with things like making sure people connected with their teams, have regular meetings, like, you would have those short conversations in the office, call your colleague when you're having your coffee, stuff like that. And it started off sort of very informal, but then I think we were able to pick up on trends and things that other organisations were maybe doing to pull back in on that engagement piece and really get everybody together. So we do have a committee, for starters. So I think that's been really, really valuable, is having an engagement committee with different people from different departments to pull in the insights and generate some ideas that kind of hopefully work for everybody. And I think also on employee engagement, it's important that although not everybody might look at it and not everybody might be interested, there might be a handful that are, and that's still really valuable. So you are reaching out to somebody. But yeah, we've done things like, when we think about how we're meeting now, we've done virtual quizzes, we introduced recognition. So we're not all in the office to say, hey, great job, thanks for your help with that all the time. So we implemented e-cards so that people could still recognize each other in that way. So loads of things that have sort of happened there, but I don't know if you've got any questions on any sort of specific areas.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, really, because obviously, we've spoken, and I know you've taken on people during this time, and you've obviously had to onboard people and new starters, and they've not even come into the office. I mean, how have you sort of dealt with that as a challenge in the first instance? I mean, actually bringing somebody in who's new to the organisation is quite a challenge in comparison to employees that were already together, who knew each other, so they'd already got that rapport. So how have you gone about building that and working that in with sort of new starters during this time?
Absolutely. So again, big challenge, and I guess really fantastic that we've continued to be able to recruit in this time, and sort of that's a really positive light on it. But absolutely, you then face the hurdles of, okay, we now need to onboard somebody remotely. We've never had to do this before. We've got to think about equipment. We've got to think about getting interaction with a team. And I think one of the most important ways of going about that is real strong communication and keeping in touch with that person. So like you say, in a normal world, we'd meet them in the office on the first day. That doesn't happen. So I think what's really worked for us and myself from a HR perspective is getting in touch with those new candidates and those new hires that you're looking to onboard, reaching out to them, having those open conversations like you would, introducing yourself, integrating them with team calls. Maybe perhaps they join one of those before they join the team fully, just so they can get a bit of an idea of what's going on. In terms from, their onboarding perspective with IT, it's been a whole change in the world of the way we do it. So making sure we know what they need, what have they already got at home, which they can utilize, or what maybe they haven't got and they need everything. But I think from our side, it's being able to be transparent in the way that we're working and saying, look, this is where we are at the moment, and this is where we're going to look to go next year. And also finding out what they need from us. So I think one of my biggest things is just to sort of say, when we are onboarding new people remotely, look, just speak up, whatever you need. If we can provide it, we will. And if we can't, we can point you in the direction to where you can get it. But let us know, speak to your manager, speak to your team, join our engagement initiatives, check these sort of things out. We have a lot of sort of internal intranet pages, and so it's almost internal social media pages that people can use, and that's not always then very heavily work related, so it's a bit of an escape sometimes when you are at work and maybe you struggle to take those breaks. So, and it gives people those conversation starters. Sometimes we'll post little fun things to say, you know, what do you think about this or this sort of thing, and people can take that into their huddles then and kind of talk about it and have a different line of conversation about things.
Oh, so it's really, the key point of what you're saying, it's all down to communication, isn't it? It's encouraging communication.
It really is.
Instigating communication. It's putting seeds in there, because like you were saying with the committee, you might not get everybody wanting to engage. However, those that do, that energy that they generate from being involved in the committee will then radiate out within their groups, their huddles, their teams.
Absolutely.
And so people will sort of benefit from that as it is. But you've got that added challenge as well, that you are liaising with Europe, and then you're obviously you're a US owned organization, so I guess you're having to sort of look at how we're doing things here in line with sort of rules and regulations here, and then sort of working in with what's happening in Europe and what's happening in the States as well, which must add another sort of dimension to the challenge, because you've got different ways of doing things that you're having to adjust to as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I must say it does work really well in some aspects, because we can be really cross-functional on things. So there might be an engagement initiative coming out of the US, which is intended to be global, which is amazing, because you get the sort of content out of it and you're like, right, okay, this is what we can do for this specific region. This will work for this country, maybe not so much for that one. So you can really sink your teeth into it and think what you want to pull out of it. But then at the same time, we get to share best practices. So maybe there's things that I look at for the UK that the guys in, I don't know, other regions wouldn't look at in the US, and we share a lot of that knowledge in terms of, again, us guys communicating with each other across regions from a HR perspective. So checking in and sort of saying, what have you guys been up to this month? What are your plans on engagement? Is there anything that we can jump on the back of, or is there anything that we can share with you that we're doing that's worked really well? And a lot of things like that. So I think because it's just been a new way of working for everybody, we've almost all sort of had to pull in and put our heads together and think, okay, this is our workforce, this is the way that we work, these are our tools and systems that we have available. What can we do to really open it up, keep everybody connected, have some exciting initiatives, have a bit of fun along the way, and, you know, make it, although it's not been the best year, make it a year to remember for the right reasons, in a sense. And I think when I think of some of the events that have happened throughout the year, for instance, so when we have Pride is normally a massive thing for our sort of organisation. We really go out there and celebrate it. And especially from the US perspective, they heavily get involved in parades and things like that are happening. And same with us from the UK side as well. But ultimately, with the restrictions this year, things like that couldn't happen. So we had a whole virtual Pride event. We had a drag queen on there live. Honestly, it was like a show. It was amazing and people loved it. And that was really US centric. And then on the flip side, when I think of more locally in the UK, coming up, it's that time of year where you have your Christmas parties and everyone's getting together and celebrating the end of the year and things that have been achieved. And again, we can't all connect in person to do those things this year. So we're taking it virtual, and we're going to have our virtual Christmas get together. And we put together a really fun Christmas video, which I'm to see myself. I'm not sure how I got roped into singing, but it happened. I'm sure I'll share it with you after, but it's not for YouTube, Sarah.
Oh, what a shame! What a shame! Well, yeah, Frank's be doing backing vocals. That's what I want to know. That's the all takeaway. Just Frank going to be doing backing vocals.
That's a good howl in there at some point.
But it's you obviously, as an organisation, you do so much to generate that. But just to flip that on its head, just sort of, what would somebody coming into, you know, employees from their perspective, what would you expect from an employer? Yes, as an employer, you're offering all of that, but what would you expect from an employee to sort of help that all work?
Yeah, so I'd say one, give it a go. I know, like I say, I know there's a lot of people out there that might not necessarily enjoy the virtual world and joining calls and having the camera on, but give it a go at least once, you know, it might change your mind on it. I'd say the second thing, if you don't enjoy that sort of thing, or maybe there's initiatives you've seen elsewhere or ideas of your own, let us know. You know, feedback is so key, especially on these sort of things. And I think with the committee that we have, we work on that. So we will look at, should we get a survey out and just find out how people are feeling? I don't know. We send prizes out for random things. Let's find out what prizes people want, because that way they'll want to get more involved. And it's just things like that. So again, I guess it comes back down to just that open communication cycle. What do you guys want? Can we give it you? Because if we can, we will, absolutely. But yeah, I think from a new joiner's perspective, that once you're in the business, just let us know how you feel about things. Let us know what engages you, you know, so have those sort of conversations. And like I say, more often than there's not, there's representatives from the committee in each department. And if organisations can't set it up like that, that's fine. But I think it's important to always reach out to every area of the business and find out maybe what certain departments like and what certain departments don't, just so you can try and capture it and have a big picture of everything and everyone's needs.
Absolutely, because everybody is different. We're all unique. We're all individual.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've all got different sort of styles and patterns of learning and understanding and what appeals. You know, you've got people who are sort of pragmatists, activists, or reflectors, or theorists by learning style, and different things are going to appeal. And if somebody's more introverted, they're not going to necessarily want to get on the mic and do the latest sort of karaoke.
Absolutely.
And there's also the organisations that wouldn't want me singing either, because to be perfectly frank, Frank would put his balls over his ears. But you know, there's lots of other things. You know, as you say, it's looking at that engagement, and from both angles, it's communication. That's what keeps on coming loud and clear to me. It's the
definitely.
And speaking out, and not being afraid to sort of go, well, do you know what? This is my idea. What do you think? Because in my sort of learning and understanding of the world, it's a no anyway if you don't ask.
Well, absolutely. And I always say, like, no question is a stupid question. So if anyone's got, you know, any questions or advice they want to give us on an initiative we're doing, or feedback, or maybe how they do it differently, we're so open to knowing, because again, like I say, it's been very new to us working through this. So any ideas and suggestions that come up, I would definitely say you should hear them all from a HR perspective. Any ideas that you get coming from your workforce, listen to them and, you know, take it on board.
Absolutely. And just to cap off, obviously that's 2020. We're moving into 2021. Here's hoping some sort of new normality resumes. What are you hoping for 2021 from a sort of a HR perspective and engagement, employees, etc., for the business moving forward as you sort of approach that new year?
Yeah, I think for me, one of my biggest focuses will be getting back in that office. So however and whatever that looks like, I think that's going to be really key to just stepping the engagement up a level in a way. So yeah, looking at how we can make the office more functional, depending on what restrictions are in place when we head into the new year. So that a voluntary basis, is there numbers, who wants it, who doesn't, voluntary, let's look at it like that, you know. And it's been, I think when we look back to March, I don't think any of us expected us to still be in this situation now. So yeah, absolutely, going into 2021, it's about looking at people's needs. The work-life balance is big on the agenda again, because home working as well as living at home can have a big crossover sometimes, and it's very hard to see those boundaries. So I think there'll be a lot of work around things like that. I think there'll be a lot on my agenda around flexible working generally and how we manage that, but also what initiatives can we bring from 2020 that worked really well and continue into 2021 even if we are in a new normality. So that's the sort of things I'll be looking at.
Brilliant. So really, again, it's that sort of, it's reviewing, it's looking at what works, what doesn't, being creative, looking at what you've got and how you can make it work for the best, and actually looking at the positive, and it's all with that sort of communication and employee engagement in mind.
Definitely.
But in the meantime, we need to have a break. So we kick back for Christmas, I think.
Yes.
have a bit of a chill time. So thank you so much for sharing your insights again. I really, really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Anytime, Sarah.
Yes, well, we'll book another one in.
We will.
But have a wonderful Christmas. I hope Frank gets all that he wishes for.
Oh, I'm sure he will. He's
a beautiful boy.
Oh,
are you going to come and wish us all? There he is.
There he is.
Star of Instagram. He has his own page, people.
He does. He's on Instagram. There he is now, showing off.
He will miss it when you go back to the office, Hanny, really.
Oh, I know. I think I might have a little office dog on my hands here.
I think you might. Oh, look, he's so beautiful. Anyway, thank you
thanks,
again
Sarah.
so much. Have a wonderful Christmas.
You
And
too.
we shall see you in the new year. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.